you guys might have saw Derek Carr and I are going to be hosting a night of worship on June the 11th here in New Orleans. Really excited about it. I think it's something that has been on my family's heart to do in the city for a while. But when you're talking about doing something like this, and doing the first one of its kind, you got to make sure you do it right. And it works well mainly because of Derek and who he is. An unbelievable person. I think everybody sees him, as a player and the longevity he's had in his career and how a steady force he's been as a player. But off the field, he's a phenomenal speaker and sharing the gospel and sharing his faith and living that out. And so he actually approached me about doing something like this, and it's been something I've been wanting to do. And so when you have somebody like that, you definitely can't miss the opportunity. And why it's so, it's going to be an unbelievable night. We got some great singers coming in. You can't have a great event without great entertainment. Got Torrin Wells, got one of the hottest artists out right now, CeCe Winans coming. Truly going to be a great event. Derek's going to be able to share a word, and I think that's going to be phenomenal. And then I'll close out the evening. But it's going to be a great event. Looking forward to it. But I think what makes this such a groundbreaking moment, being born in Mississippi, being born in the South, I think when you're a part of sports that's so unified, it brings fans together of all different type of backgrounds. It brings players in the locker room of all different types of background, that you can kind of be immune to racial tensions. But racial tensions is a real thing that exists in our country. Whether you're operating in spaces where it doesn't affect you so much, it's always happening around us. And I think when you have an African American as myself and a Caucasian as Derek kind of coming together, and people are able to see our unity and our brotherhood, but what bonds us is our faith and how it's a natural solution to issues that are happening in the world. And I think people are always trying to find the answers to those things, and we just have a chance to live that out. So that's why I'm excited. I think no better place than here in New Orleans. Excited to bring that. So excited that that's coming. So wanted to share that. Yeah.
How were you able to get Torrin Wells and CeCe Winans? Do you know that?
Yeah, just different relationships. Derek and myself has, when we first started talking about it, we knew we were going to do it regardless. And we started to talk through like different artists, and we wanted to think about different, genres of music and different backgrounds and different followings. We wanted to be unique to make sure, because we're bringing together a diverse audience. And he knew he could go and secure Torrin Wells. And I have a great relationship with the Winans family. And so I wasn't sure. She's a very busy person, but was able to get that by the grace of God. So once we got them locked in, it was the biggest thing to make sure we got it around their dates, because we knew we could be flexible. And so once we got the dates working and got the venue locked down, it was good as go. Say that again? Yeah, it's going to be at Mahalia Jackson Theater. Going to be the first of its kind. That's where we're going to begin. We want to have a good event. Hopefully it's not the first one we do. It's a lot of great theaters in arenas and venues in New Orleans, so we want to be able to put together a good one that's a success, and then hopefully use some of those other ones as well, but that's where we're going to be at. Yeah, tickets gonna be hot. So, everybody, those tickets gonna be hot, and it's a free event. We put a lot of thought into that, but we want to do it right. It's gonna be a free event. When them tickets come, they're gonna go like hot cakes. Gonna be like the Willy Wonka tickets. Get them if you can. It's limited space. And so. That's more information on the ticket process is going to be released soon.
Demario, I asked Coach Allen earlier about, you've been here 6 years, you've never missed a game. He said though last year against Jacksonville, it got really toward the end. Can you take hold of anything, playing linebacker is a really tough position to play, a lot of brutal injuries. How have you maintained your body through all this and keep progressing?
That's a great question. number one, you know, nobody plays this game and walks away unscathed. You know, it just doesn't happen. They tell you that on the front end. You got to know what you're signing up for. And I just think, you know, I kind of live my life this way, that you don't make it this far in the game, even into this game, and then as far in this game, and especially without injury, without, you know, a little extra insurance or a little extra covering, I think it's just by the grace of God, a lot of it. So I can't take credit for that part, which is a huge part, because any play you could be in a situation and something could happen. But when I came in the league, I played with some great guys that had played a long time. I came in with Rex Ryan's defense, and it was Darrell Reeves was on my team, Bart Scott, Antonio Cromartie, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Nick Mangold. I played with Lawan and DeJuan Landry. I had some guys who had built extensive pro careers, and I used to just ask them a bunch of questions. And they taught me how to kind of build out a process of taking care of your body, like what to do. And it's really just a regimen. And thankfully, I think I've been gifted with a little bit of discipline, you know, and self-control in certain arenas where I can, you know, do those little things that you have to do every day. And I have an incredible team around me that's probably been with me for the last 7 years for sure. And they've really made the difference in where I'm at now. I think if I didn't have the team around me that I have right now, and they did a little piece on that. Shout out to NOF and the NOF that did that piece. Shout out to them. And you've seen a little bit about my process. And yeah, I think without them, I wouldn't be at year 13 feeling this good. And so it's been a blessing.
Mark, was it important for you to be here at the voluntary team workouts and players like you and Tyron and Cam kind of just showing up and how's that?
I mean, I imagine if you look over at Kansas City, they probably got 100% participation, and they won the Super Bowl. So if all them showing up and we chasing them, can't miss. You know, so I don't think about it no other way.
You talk about Kansas City. You guys got linebacker from there. What are your thoughts about Willie Gay and how you two play well together?
Oh, man, Willie's phenomenal. He's a Mississippi boy, so shout out to the SIP. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. I told him, I had a chance to talk with him today. He got the world in front of him. You know, year 5, 2 Super Bowls on his belt. Now it's really just about making his stamp in the league, and his legacy could be whatever he wanted. Man, he's fast, he's explosive, he's smart, he's physical. He can do it all. He can play, you know, Mike to the Sam. So I think phenomenal player, and his career will be whatever he wants it to be. I definitely think he'll help us, and so excited about that. But you don't have to turn on the tape long to see him. He definitely jumps out on the tape.
Where do you think it would rank y'all as a linebacker group with you, him, and Pete Werner, just your versatility and different skill sets?
We always just trying to be, you know, one of the top units. We try to be consistent. I think it starts at the top with our coaching. Mike Hodges is one of the best that I've ever been around. I've had some really good linebacker coaches. He never drops the standard, and it's really just about being disciplined, consistent, you know, knowing where we fit in the run game, being great players in space, in the pass game, knowing when our numbers are being called in the blitz game to be effective. And that's top to bottom. And so it certainly helps when you got great, talented players like Pete and Willie in the room. But, you know, we got great guys across the board. You look at Nephi, who's having a great year before. He had the unfortunate injury last year. DeMarco Jackson, who a lot of people haven't seen, a phenomenal player. I mean, the room is full of talented guys, and they're getting coached well. I mean, you look at 2 guys who've just left our program, Zach Bond and Caden Ellis, who had great years that allowed them to go on to other teams and you know, take care of their family as well. And I just think we got the right type of room. and what you're gonna see is just going to continue to generate high volume players.
What stands out to you about Pete Werner right now in particular? Still kind of taking that climb and wanting to build off the things he's done before, but you know, how do you think he's handled that, and what do you expect from him this year?
Pete is just consistent as you can find him. I expect him to have a great year. You know, every year you'll see him start as fast as any linebacker across the league. And I just think at this point he'll figure out a way to continue to put it all together and do it consistent, because him being consistent is that's part of his character. He doesn't change. High times, low times, he's steady. And those are the best type, as the ones that, I mean, emotion is good in the game. You know, I'm a high emotion player, but you got to have somebody that can balance the highs and the lows. You know, those are the ones who have those long tenures, and I believe you will see that out of him. I mean, he's as great a tackler as you're going to find. He's instinctual. For a young player in this league, the way since he's come in, the way he's able to diagnose plays and process information, I don't know if I've been around many that was like that at that age. And so I certainly think it's going to be a big year for him.
Mario, what are your thoughts about the report today that there could be a proposal to eliminate OTAs in the future in favor of a longer ramp-up period into training camp?
You got to help me. I'm not caught up on my current events.
So today there was a report that in the future OTAs could be eliminated in favor of a longer ramp-up period in training camp. So I don't know exactly what that would entail, but obviously it'd be very different. There would be no month-long, I guess, break between OTAs and training camp. And just as someone who's gotten used to doing it one way, would you have any thoughts on that? Would you have to?
I think if you break it down, it's probably pros and cons on both sides as anything. I think I heard a little conversation around it, and I just feel like, man, we human beings, we adapt. And so whether we're forced to change or we're slow to change, eventually we all adapt. And so I just think that'll just be one of those things. I don't think it'll be a big deal either way. It may just depending on how reluctant we are to change. If they put that rule in place, you know, people who are used to the old, you know, gonna gripe about it, and people who don't know so much, a new person coming in, it's gonna be their world. So I think whatever the case, we'll adapt to it. I think it'll just produce family dynamics with, you know, kids and summers and stuff like that. But
Mark, what do you make of the new offense so far? Is it weird now that you've been going up against basically the same thing for the last 7 years, now practicing against the kind ball?
man, it's exciting. I think Kubiak, phenomenal person. His name precedes him, so on and off the field. So I was excited to be able to go against that challenge. I think the coaching tree that he comes from is probably upper echelon of the NFL right now. And so you're kind of going against what you typically see from the more explosive offenses in today's game, coming down from that Shanahan tree. And so it's been interesting. I've got a chance to kind of pick his brain and just kind of ask a lot of those things because, you know, as a Mike linebacker, a lot of times when I'm playing in the game, I'm not playing the player so much as I'm playing against the offensive coordinator. And so I think that has been something that has been a more challenging thing. So now kind of having that in the backyard is very helpful, especially like when we get into the season. If I have certain questions, I know I can probably go to him and kind of get his thoughts and maybe get like a little deeper backstory on certain things. So it's been great. It's challenging for us. A lot of the looks that we wouldn't get into the season we're getting now, and so that's exciting.
There's so many here. Your tweet last night about the work, the gospel.
Mhm.
I'm trying to say if there was a message in this, or you just kind of saying, you said high quarterback. Yes, that's right, high quarterback. Was that a message like the fans who like doubt Derek Carr, or was it just the word for the South?
No, it wasn't nothing like that. I think my intent around it was, here's our quarterback doing something in the city. I think that's huge. It's like, you got to realize that if football was a chessboard, the quarterback is the most important piece. It's the most vital piece. And so you got to think, with that load of responsibility, that person, and then having a family, got a lot of things on your plate, a lot of things to carry, a lot of things to manage, and taking time to do this, to care about it. Like I said, he brought it to me to care about it. That just says a lot. It's like, it's not a wide receiver or safety, or even a middle linebacker. Like, it's the quarterback. It's a big deal. And so that's all I was saying. That's all I was saying with it. You got a man that cares about the city, who wants to do something for the city. So I'm excited about it.
Demario, how do you feel like that could be an alignment or thing that the quarterback shares the same strong faith as you and comes to you and to help get a project that's going?
Say that one more time.
How does it feel from an ordained or alignment standpoint that the quarterback comes in, has the same faith as you, and same level when it comes to you to have that kind of a project get going?
Yeah, man. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, me and Derek tight. Like, we connected early, just on so many levels. Our kids around the same age, the same, a lot of things that, the sports we played growing up, some of our stories. And so as we started to spend more time together, just during the season and even in the off season, we started to realize how alike we are. And so I don't think, like, I've been wanting to do an event like this in New Orleans for a while. I get a chance to go all over the country and do different types of events like this, hosted some, being brought in on some, and he's done the same. But here, everyone knows how unique New Orleans is, and so you got to make sure that if you're going to do something in New Orleans, you got to do it right. And so there's been opportunities in the past that just didn't seem like the right fit, the right thing. But when he brought it to me, it was a no-brainer. Like, we both spoken at churches here, but we were talking about doing something at a neutral site, which just brought people together, kind of like the game does. Like the game brings, all people together from different backgrounds, different walks of life. And so it was the right thing. And it was a no-brainer because I know who he is. I know who he is away from the game. And, it was no better person to do this type of event with, so I'm excited about it.